Hello everyone and welcome. It's a jet vlog. Haven't done one of these in a while. It's January of 2016 and I first started posting videos to YouTube in October of 2006. So it's almost been 10 years. And I didn't really start making vlogs though until late 2007. I was just posting little 1 or 2 minute videos for about the first year I was active on YouTube. But man, time has gone by. So, I got, as always, I get questions on my Facebook page, Myargonauts on Facebook. And a woman, I'll just call her Charlotte, won't use any other names, emailed me, and she has a very specific situation, and she had some very thoughtful, specific questions, which I will email her back and let her know my thoughts about that. Again, I'm not an oracle of everything that's known about jets, so there are a lot of other resources, and I haven't been a jet since 2009, so some things have changed. But she asked me some general questions that I thought I would make a video about. I've talked about salary and how much money you make and is it enough to live on, etc. Lots of times before in other videos, so that's an easy one that she asked me about that you can look up in other videos. But she is going to come over with perhaps her spouse and her child. Her child would be she said about 3 years old when she comes over. And her husband would theoretically, she didn't mention, and I haven't gotten back to her. I don't know if he would also have a degree and therefore easily be able to find employment teaching while he's here. So, but with a 3-year-old, you're obviously looking at some kind of daycare situation, or they're not really old enough to go to school. Would you want them to go to Japanese school? And then they're obviously not a baby. I mean, they need to be entertained, as it were, during the day. So maybe the husband is just going to stay at home and take care of the child, and she's going to go off and be an ALT, and that's fine. So her question was: is is the jet salary enough to support three people? So again, I've often said, the typical jet salary now is about 30 mon, 300,000 yen a month. I'm not going to break it down because it just changes so often in exchange rate wise, but you can do that math. It really, again, it varies a lot depending on what apartment you get and how much it's subsidized. But I would say if you think of 10 mon of that as being rent, electricity, internet, cell phone, all those kind of expenses and bills, that's probably pretty safe. And then of course some tax would be taken out. So my guess is you'd have about 15 mon, or about 150,000 yen per month to live off of. Now that means food, gasoline, haircuts, medicine, whatever it might be that you need to get by for 4 weeks. And I think that's plenty. You're not going to be going around so much. You obviously, the main thing a lot of people want to do when they come to Japan is travel, and that is expensive. But if you just kind of pick your moments and save up, I don't think that's even out of the question. Certainly, just day-to-day living would be fine. A big question is, what would your husband do for the year that you're an ALT, or if you decide to say 2 years? Is he gonna try to get a part-time job? Is he gonna write a novel? Is he gonna play video games every day? Is he gonna take care of your 3-year-old and that's enough? I don't know. So some of his life satisfaction, I think, should be discussed before you make that big leap. The other thing she asked me about was the language barrier. And the way she stated it in her email, I don't think she was trying to be arrogant. That's not even the right word. But she basically said, I don't want to come over there and teach if the language barrier is really going to get in the way of me being a good teacher. And I think this is a common misperception. This was certainly a misperception I had in 2004 when I first came over as a jet. I thought, I'd taken Japanese for 1 year in college, She feels like she can take some Japanese before she comes, but she knows no Japanese right now. I don't think in 1 year you can learn enough Japanese to be considered conversant. You can learn enough to be able to read simple katakana and hiragana things. You can learn the greetings. You can learn some basic aisatsu and the verb structure and stuff. But unless you're really going to pour your heart and soul into it, and if you have a small child, and stuff, I just think that's got to be difficult. And you've got either a job or you're going to school, blah, blah, blah. It's really difficult to learn enough to really feel like, I think, you can hold a conversation. And there's a big difference between holding a conversation with an adult, say at your BOE, or even if you go out to a party or something and you're at a mixer where people want to learn English and you want to learn Japanese or whatever, and they're going to be patient with you and try to listen to what you're saying, and you're bad Japanese, and they're going to take that in just like you're going to take in their bad English and understand what they're trying to say. There's a big difference between that conversation and talking to 8-year-olds or 10-year-olds or even 14-year-olds who have no, they have no social graces. They're just like, huh? Hey, nani? They're just gonna sit there and go, what are you saying? Speak Japanese. What are you, an idiot? They're not gonna say that, but they don't know how to process the fact that you don't know Japanese. They just assume that you do. A lot of them, when they first meet you, at least. And the fact is, you're obviously not supposed to be speaking Japanese to them in the classroom setting anyway. You're supposed to be speaking English. But the thing is that, she goes on to talk about, wanting to discuss like American history with them and maybe start a history club and things like this. And that's all very ambitious and good. But the simple fact is your students are going to know so little English that you can't speak to them in English at all in any sustained way unless they're motivated high school students. At the elementary and junior high level, they just don't know enough unless they've lived abroad or there's some special situation. One parent is a foreigner or something. You just can't have conversations with your kids in English. You certainly can't discuss like, what did you think of, Martin Luther King or something in English? They might be able to tell you their opinion in Japanese, but even some of the kids would be hard pressed to do that. So the language barrier is significant, and I don't think in any way in a year from now to when you apply in a year or whatever it is, you're going to be able to really make a dent in that. While you're here, of course, you can continue to study Japanese and get better, and you'll certainly find common ground to discuss things with your students. Maybe you like baseball and you'll talk about baseball with the kids, or you grew up watching Pokemon or something, and there's some kind of something you can talk to them about. But you just I arrived and I thought, oh yeah, I'll be talking to the kids and blah blah blah, and you can't. There's no chatting with them, especially in English. You can try. A lot of them are going to be very shy around you anyway. You can try chatting with them outside of class, like at recess or during sports day or lunchtime in Japanese, if you have that ability. But certainly for me, when I first came, after only a year of studying in college, my Japanese was pretty poor as far as like instantly knowing, vernacular and idioms and the way the kids use, dictionary form, and, nobody uses arimasu and, the mas form. I mean, that's something you're taught, but nobody really uses it in conversation. And the kids are obviously talking fast, and, it's really, you're thrown in the deep end in that respect. So I wouldn't recommend that you let that get in your way of coming over. And the other thing to remember is you're not going to be a teacher. You're an assistant. You're going to go in there. You're going to, hopefully, think of some fun games to do. Maybe sing some songs. You're going to help the kids pronounce things. There's levels to which you can change that, but you're always going to be team teaching. You're almost never going to be alone unless you're at the high school level. And this is all talking about JET. It's different if you're an Eikaiwa teacher where you are put into a classroom of, 5 or 6 students who are various ages, and you are the sole teacher, and you do have to conduct a lesson of your own making, perhaps. That's language school. But if we're talking about JET and we're talking about in the public schools, you're not going to be responsible for a lot of that teaching stuff, especially not right away. The teachers know that you're brand new, and they're not going to just come at you right away. So it's a lot of learning on the job as you go, and you'll find that the language barrier, the way the language barrier is actually going to get in your way the most is talking to the teachers. Now, if you're at a junior high, the teachers should speak English fairly well. Hopefully they do. High school, they're going to speak English probably even a little bit better. But at elementary school, still, the teachers don't speak a lot of English. And that's going to change between now and 2020, perhaps a little bit. But that's where, if you can speak some Japanese, it helps you the most, because you can lesson plan and talk to teachers about what you're trying to tell the kids in English, and this is how it works, and this is what we need, and this is how we're going to pass things out, and can you help me make the kids make 4 lines of 4? And if you can say these things in Japanese, that's really where it's going to help you a lot. But I wouldn't let it get in your way. You said, can I be an effective ALT without a lot of Japanese? Yeah, I think 80% of the ALTs that come over still, even though Japanese has become a more popular language to study abroad and more JET applicants have some Japanese ability, most people come over with very little or none. And I think they are very effective ALTs anyway, because the things that you're going to be asked to do are going to really rely on your ability to be outgoing and interesting and get the kids involved, etc. But using English, you don't have to really worry about using Japanese. But in life, in your life, daily life here, and in certain ways of planning, etc., talking to teachers, it's very helpful. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you want to know Japanese, but I wouldn't let that put you off of applying to the program, because you just you can't, unless you're really good at Japanese, you're not going to really be able to get through to your students in that way that you want to. At least not at first. It took me a good couple of years before and I got lucky, because I've told this story. I had a student who went abroad and lived in Pennsylvania in America for a few years when he was 7 or 8 years old. His English was pretty good, and he was part of the kendo team. So he brought me into the kendo team, and all the kendo boys got to know me, and I learned all their vernacular and jargon of playing kendo. And then, when other students see these other students kind of joking with me and being relaxed around me than they are, and I got to know some of the students in the brass band and went to their concerts, and it's all just how much you're willing to put out there, and you'll get it back. But still, I would sit there and we would just have to have very simple conversations in both languages. Me, because my Japanese wasn't so good yet, and them because their English is so poor, and that's reality. So anyway, and then the last part of your thing was, should I go to Italy or should I go to Japan for 1 month if I have a chance? Go to Italy. Go to Italy, because you're young, and Italy is amazing, and you'll have a chance if you're going to come to Japan and live here on JET. Just any you would be surprised how few Americans have ever used their passport, have ever left America. So just showing that you went to Italy for a month shows your willingness to go and encounter another culture and study abroad and be in a foreign culture. So yeah, go take that chance and go to Italy before you do JET. I think that's a great opportunity, and travel is a wonderful reward. You get to go places, experience other cultures, and as many places as you can go in life. I recommend that you do that. Okay, that's my JET vlog. Hey, I did one. 2016. How you doing? Thanks for watching as always, everyone. And I'm here in my office. Just a crazy time right now, January. I'm trying to finish up my work here at the university, get ready to move to my new city, start my new job in March. Sumo's going on right now. I've got that going on every day. Just tons happening, but I'm glad I was able to make this and get it posted. And good luck, Charlotte, with your application in a year or so. and I'll respond to the rest of your questions via Facebook. And if you do have questions, etc., and I have so many videos you can look through on the channel, but you really feel like you need to ask me a specific question, feel free. I'll do my best to get back to you, but I will be busy, especially these next couple months. So if you can wait until like April or something, you probably have a better chance of getting a response than if you send it in February or March. All right, guys, peace. See you soon. Bye.